Have you ever really stopped to wonder what's at the absolute root of your experience? I mean, not just what you see or hear, but the why behind your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions. Well, today we're going to dive into a really profound ancient text called The Root of All Things, which claims to have the answer. And let me tell you, it's probably not what you're expecting.
But let me start with a question for you. When you experience something, anything at all, do you just see it for what it is? Or does your mind immediately kick in and start weaving a story? You know, I like this, I hate that, this is mine, that's a threat. Just hold that thought, because it is right at the heart of everything we're about to explore.
So right at the beginning of this text, the Buddha makes this huge promise. But let's be super clear. We're not talking about a physical root like for a plant. We're talking about the root of our entire experience, the root of why we suffer, and ultimately the root of our freedom. So let's see what that actually means.
All right, section 1, the root of everything. The first major insight here is that this root isn't somewhere out there in the world. Nope, it's right here, in our own minds. It is all about our mental relationship to, well, everything, from the ground beneath our feet to the most complicated ideas we can think of.
The Buddha starts with the most basic, solid thing you can imagine, Earth. He says an ordinary person perceives Earth as Earth. Okay, sounds simple, right? But the secret sauce is in that little word, perceive.
You see, perceive, or sangya, in the original language, is very specific. It's not some pure, objective seeing. It's recognition that has already been filtered through our entire life story. Our memories, our ideas, our hopes, our fears. Basically, nothing we perceive is ever just raw data. It's already been processed by us.
And here's where the problem kicks in, for what the text calls the unlearned ordinary person. They don't just stop at that filtered perception. They take it one giant step further. They conceive it. They build a story on top of it.
And this is the absolute game changer. To conceive, or manyati, is to take that perception and make it all about me. It's that mental leap where you don't just see Earth, you think, Earth is mine. It's like taking reality and just slapping a big self sticker all over it. And that single action is what causes all the trouble.
Okay, section 2, 3 ways of seeing. So based on this one mental habit, the text lays out this really amazing path in 3 stages. It describes 3 types of people based entirely on how they relate to the world around them.
So check this out. The whole path is right here. You have the ordinary person who automatically latches on thinking Earth is mine. And because of that, they're trapped. They don't really get it. Then there's the trainee, someone on the path who realizes this is going on and is actively working to stop that process. That work is what allows them to begin to understand. And finally, you have the perfected one. For them, it's not even an effort. They just don't conceive things that way. And why not? Because they've already understood it completely.
Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I get it for Earth, but how far does this idea really go? Well, the Buddha takes this exact formula and applies it to literally everything.
He walks us up this incredible ladder of perception. It starts with the physical elements, then moves to living beings. Then it gets into gods and divine concepts, things that were very real for his audience. From there, it goes even higher to these super abstract philosophical ideas like on-oneness or the all. And just when you think you've hit the ceiling, he applies it to the most shocking place of all, the ultimate goal itself, nirvana.
And this is where the teaching gets truly radical, maybe even a little uncomfortable. What happens when the thing you're perceiving and might be tempted to conceive as your own, is the very goal of the entire spiritual path, the state of total freedom?
The logic is inescapable. Even for the trainee, the instruction is exactly the same. Having directly known extinguishment, let them not conceive that extinguishment is mine. You see, even the highest spiritual goal can become just another shining object for the ego, another thing to stamp with me. The moment you try to own nirvana, you've already lost it.
So section 4, the problem with approval. What is the one thing that powers this whole process of conceiving? The text gives it a name,
And it really is the final piece of our puzzle. The true root of it all is an act that's called approval.
I mean, listen to this directly from the source. The Buddha's own awakening is realizing that approval is the root of suffering. And that is the big reveal. The root of all things that causes us so many problems is this one single mental act of approval.
But approval, or nandaditi, doesn't just mean agreeing with something intellectually. It means delighting in it, relishing it. It's that little spark of craving when our mind latches onto an experience and just says, yes, I want that. That's the emotional fuel for the fire of conceiving.
And so why doesn't a perfected one do this? Why don't they approve? It's because, as the text hammers home, they are totally free from the roots of every bad state of mind, greed, hate, and delusion. And without that fuel, the fire of approval and conceiving just can't get started.
So the whole teaching ends with one of the most mysterious and debated moments in the whole Buddhist canon. After the Buddha gives this incredibly deep teaching, he gets a really strange reaction from the monks who are listening. That's the line. That's it. Usually after a teaching, the monks are overjoyed and they praise the Buddha's words. But here, just silence. They did not approve. What on earth could that possibly mean?
So what are we supposed to make of this? Well, there are two ways to look at it. The easy interpretation is that the lesson was a complete flop. Either the monks were just too confused, or maybe their egos were so rattled by this radical idea that they just shut down. But there's a much more profound possibility, one that fits the teaching like a glove. What if they didn't approve because they got it? They understood so perfectly that approval, that delighting, that latching on, was the very thing they were being taught to let go of. Their silence wasn't confusion, it was the ultimate demonstration of the lesson. It was perfect equanimity in action.
And that leaves us with a final, massive thought to chew on. What if true, liberating insight isn't about finding the right belief system, or the right philosophy, or even the right spiritual state that you can finally approve of and cling to? What if real understanding is found in the radical and maybe scary act of letting go of the need to approve or disapprove of anything at all?